Hey friends, Frankie and Brad here in Casper's Kitchen where we cook music. Brad and I are going to chat a little bit today about rock bands that have multiple guitar players, many of which play twin leads, and in some cases, three guitar players play triple leads. Brad, kick us off with the Beatles.
The Beatles. Everybody knows John, Paul, and George all play guitar and have all played lead on a song by the Beatles. I think one person we need to add to that list is their producer, George Martin, who was not a guitar player, but if you listen to A Hard Day's Night, what you think the guitar solo is actually George Martin playing two different acoustic pianos to get that guitar sound.
It's amazing.
So when people hear A Hard Day's Night, they think, oh, hear that lead by George Harrison. No, it's George Martin. And actually, the song In My Life by the Beatles, very popular. That's George Martin playing the keyboard solo in the middle.
I did not know that.
And another song, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
That great guitar solo in the middle by George Harrison was first played by George Martin on the piano. He showed it to George and everybody said, that sounds great. He said, no, it would sound better played on guitar. So he actually showed George Harrison what he was playing, and that's how that solo came about.
That's amazing.
George Martin was not only a great producer, he was an accomplished musician who knew his way around a recording studio. And if you look and if you listen to the Beatles channel, you will find out there's a lot of songs that George Martin actually played on. So
that's very true.
If there was a fifth Beatle, it was him.
Absolutely. We're going to move on to a band that you and I both love, and I'm so jealous you were fortunate enough to see them. Buffalo Springfield. Wow.
Yes. You know, I read an article where Tom Petty said when he saw Buffalo Springfield in '67, that's when I saw him, he said it was life-changing.
I can believe it.
And you know, that's the only three guitar band I've ever seen that all three players had such a unique
style
and sound that when they were playing, you could actually tell who was playing what.
Yeah.
And that's very hard in today because most guitar players today have that one sound and that's it. But Buffalo Springfield, they all three had a very unique sound to their guitars.
Stephen Stills, Neil Young, Richard Furay.
Yeah, all three
guys.
Known,
but he Poco.
What's so weird is Buffalo Springfield broke up because I guess the egos of Neil Young and Stephen Stills, even though they were really close friends, their egos got in the way, and that's why they broke up. But then they ended up playing together again.
And broke up again. I once remember, and this is off subject, but there was an interview with Graham Nash, and the interviewer just point blank asked him, is it really that difficult to get along with Neil Young? And he said, yes.
And you know, I may have some insight to that. Out of those four guys, Neil Young was the workaholic. He was the one that was always wanting to get in the recording studio, where like in the Beatles, it was Paul McCartney who was always, let's do it, let's go record. But you're right, the Graham Nash and Stills and Crosby, they would probably be rather doing drugs and chasing women.
Yeah. Stephen Stills was temperamental.
Oh, yes.
I saw him solo at the Greensboro Coliseum back in the day, and somebody threw a joint up on stage and it hit him in the chest, and he just threw a temper tantrum. You know, crawled down off stage, shot the guy a rod, cussed him out, stopped the show, and I thought, wow, that's a little bit of overkill. But nevertheless, we're going to move on to Badfinger.
Badfinger, golly, what a sad story. I was lucky enough. They were on tour and were headed, going to leave the U.S. from Greensboro to fly to New York and back to England. But their flight in Greensboro didn't leave till like 12 o'clock at night. A local club owner somehow got them to play at this small club.
Wow.
And they were incredible. They were Pete Ham and Joey Molin. They were two really fine guitar players. You know, those guys, they were signed by the Beatles for Apple. They were the first group that signed.
I didn't know that.
And, of course, Come and Get It was written by Paul McCartney. So,
and they sound a lot like
and they sounded a lot like the Beatles. I remember when they came on stage, the girls started going nuts because Joey Molin looked like Paul McCartney.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They could have been brothers. They looked so much alike. And I was like, yeah, but this guy's right-handed. But a lot of the girls were, oh, it's Paul McCartney. He's playing with them. But no, it wasn't. The story about Badfinger was they got the manager from Frank Sinatra. He was Frank Sinatra's manager. Someone had turned them on to this guy who set up a banking account where they all drew their checks every week for $320. That's the most those guys ever made.
Wow.
They made millions of dollars, and this guy ripped them off. He set up a thing in a bank where they could go. He told them they could buy anything they wanted, that they had millions. He took all those millions and disappeared.
That happened so much in the 60s and 70s. Leonard Cohen's manager, the great singer-songwriter, he ripped Cohen off for millions. And Cohen had to go back on the road in his 70s, you know, to make ends meet and build up enough income to get by.
The sad part about Badfinger's story is those guys started buying houses and got in debt so deep that two of them committed suicide.
Well,
That they had no money. If you ever watched the documentary about them, at the very end of the documentary it says the FBI has still not located this guy, their manager.
that's terrible.
But check out No Dice. They had, and Straight Up, those were the two albums. Straight Up was produced by George Harrison and Todd Rundgren.
Oh, Todd again. Wow.
Yep.
We're going to move on to someone I know we both like and admire, Johnny Winter, Rick Derringer.
Johnny Winter, and they were like the super group from the early 70s. They put out a studio album and a live album. And the live album probably gets more publicity because it'll just jump off your turntable. There's so much energy from that group. And I have read that recently, at the end of this year, they're going to re-release the Johnny Winter and live album, but include the whole show.
Wow.
Instead of being one disc, it'll be two. So I kind of look forward to that. But Rick Derringer and Johnny Winter are both great players.
Different styles.
And different styles. And both are now deceased. But, yeah, that's one to look forward to.
Rick Derringer, his style was an early, what we would now call a metal style, before metal. And, of course, Johnny Winter was a blues.
Yeah, they were both, you know, just speed demons on a guitar.
Yes.
So, yeah, that would have been a great show to see.
I bet. Aerosmith, Joe Perry.
and Brad Whitford, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Joe Perry was the main guitar player. Every now and then they would let Brad Whitford play a small solo, but both guys, I still like Get Your Wings. That was their second album. I felt like that was true American rock and roll.
Some of the early Aerosmith songs, it's amazing what they could do with limited rhythms. There was one song, I think it was only a couple of chords. One of their early songs, I can't think of the name of it. One of their first songs, it was just a few chords, easy to play, but the solos were astronomical.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I saw Aerosmith. They actually opened up for Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart in Atlanta. So, and I saw them here in town as well. So, before they were all drugged out, they were a decent band.
they,
Of course, they got cleaned up later and came back and had another resurgence. But
and like you and me, they're getting to the point of retirement age. Of course, they may not retire.
they may not.
Last, and we're going to put this in two segments. We've come up with such a long list, actually three segments. We're going to do three of these, but the last of this part one is the Allman Brothers.
The Allman Brothers. You and I both saw them at Guilford College in probably 70,
Early 70s, 71 maybe too, at the
somewhere
latest.
in that point. A great show. I can't express Dwayne Allman
Slide.
and the slide guitar. The first time I was really exposed to the slide guitar, which is not easy to play, by the way.
I can't.
But he was very good at it. It made it seem like it was just something he had always done. Now, Dwayne did play lead without the slide.
I didn't know that.
He did a few little parts, but he mainly did the slide. Dickie Betts, of course,
Lead.
the lead without the slide, but those two together, they were both different enough to make it work.
And didn't, who was it? Was it Harrison or?
Warren Haynes.
Not, back to Dwayne though, it was, he was picked up to play with Derek and the Dominoes. It was Clapton. Clapton
he
liked his
played
slide
on
playing.
Layla. On
Yeah.
that was the last thing he recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Dwayne was a session guy years ago
Right.
and played on a lot of songs that you probably heard on the radio and didn't realize Dwayne was playing guitar on. But yeah, Dwayne did a lot of stuff in the time that he was here.
And he was replaced by
Warren Haynes, who later formed Government Mule.
That's a great band.
Yeah.
Warren Hayes, did he play the Fender, or did he play Les Paul?
I think he may have played a Fender, but
I know most of Skinner, or most of the Allman Brothers were playing humbuckers, but I
Right.
know one of them did have a Fender to split that sound.
yeah.
But and you said Hayes did Sweet Home Alabama, is that correct?
No, that's later.
Oh, later, okay. But Allman Brothers, I think they, and I could be wrong, were they the first Southern rock band that got recognition from being from the South?
I think they were probably the first. And what's weird is their kids are together playing now. I'm not sure if what their name is or if they're going by the Allman Brothers moniker, but I've just heard that the kids from a lot of those guys have played some shows together. So
Most of those Allman Brothers original members are probably passed. I don't know if there's...
I think one person we didn't mention is Derek Trucks. who did play with the Allman Brothers for a short time before he went out on his own, and he actually plays the slide really well. He's probably really close to where Dwayne was.
Yeah, he has got a lot of recognition for being an incredible slide. He's somebody that I think for slide players is certainly at the top of his game.
Yes.
And like you said, the only way I can play a slide is with a beer bottle, and I've got tons of slides. I've bought all kinds of slides, and none of them work on my finger. But it is an art. You can do it, but
you really got to have the feel for it. I can do it, but it's not good enough for me to want to do it, or in front of anybody. But yeah, those guys that do it.
You're too humble, Brad.
Well, I'll tell you, another good slide player was George Harrison, who Clapton, I'll never forget seeing an interview with him. He said, George has progressed so far on a slide that he said, I would never try to play a slide in front of George as good as he is at it. But it's something you really have to have a feel for.
I agree. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we've covered everybody in this first segment.
Well, again, guys, this is the end of our first of 3 segments. Bands that have multiple lead guitar players. We appreciate your time, as we always do. Give us a couple of thumbs up. Please subscribe to our site. And again, as always, you have a great day. Thanks for your time.